Have you ever sat alone with a question burning in your mind, something deeply personal, but felt too embarrassed to ask it out loud? Maybe you've wondered about intimacy, about your body, but told yourself, I'm too old for that now. Well, let me gently ask you something. What if everything you've been taught to hide, or feel ashamed of, is actually the very thing your body still needs? What if pleasure, yes, even self-pleasure, isn't just about feeling good, but about staying well? Even in your 60, 70, and beyond? Now, I know, it's not something we grew up talking about. We were taught to keep quiet, to feel guilty, even dirty for exploring our own bodies. But let me be the one to say it out loud, your desire for connection, for touch, for yourself, didn't disappear with menopause. It didn't expire when the kids left home. It's still there, waiting, patiently, quietly, respectfully. Because here's the truth that's rarely spoken, your body may have changed. But it hasn't stopped needing comfort, stimulation, and healing. You might think you're just tired, or achy, or struggling with sleep or bladder issues. But what if part of the solution, yes, a real, physical solution, was something as natural as gently reconnecting with yourself? See, as we age, especially as women, we often become strangers to our own skin. But did you know that something as simple as mindful self-touch can support bladder health? Or help you sleep better? Or even ease grief and reduce dryness and discomfort? Today, I'm going to share 6 surprising secrets about masturbation, yes, that word, that many elderly women only wish they knew sooner. These insights come from real urologists, real research, and real stories. And trust me, some of what you hear might raise an eyebrow, but others might just bring you peace, healing, and maybe even joy. So, stay with me. You don't need to feel embarrassed. You just need to feel seen. Because here on Elderly Wisdom Guide, we talk about the real stuff, with grace, respect, and truth. And if you're ready to rediscover a part of yourself that's been buried under years of silence, comment "still curious" below. Because intimacy doesn't have an expiration date. And you, my dear friend, are far from done. Now, let's begin. Secret number 1, it supports bladder health. Let me introduce you to Martha. She's 72, a retired teacher from a small town in Ohio. The kind of woman who always put others first, raised 3 children, taught for decades, and now spends her mornings tending to her roses. But lately, Martha noticed something that made her feel uncomfortable. She'd laugh, or sneeze, or even stand up too quickly, and there it was, a little leak. Nothing big. Just enough to make her feel self-conscious. At first, she brushed it off. It's just part of getting older, she thought. She wore pads. She changed her routines. She even started avoiding long walks or public outings, just in case. But something about it didn't sit right. So, during a regular checkup, she gathered the courage to bring it up to her urologist. And that's when she heard something that stopped her in her tracks. The doctor said, "Martha, your pelvic floor muscles are like any other muscles, they weaken if they're not used. But guess what helps keep them active? Pelvic stimulation. Yes, that kind. You see, what most people, especially older women, don't realize is that masturbation isn't just a private pleasure, it's a form of health maintenance. When you stimulate yourself, you're not only awakening nerves and increasing blood flow, you're also subtly engaging the pelvic floor muscles that control bladder function. It's like doing a gentle Kegel, but without feeling like you're stuck in a dull exercise class. And here's where the science comes in. Regular arousal helps maintain muscle tone and elasticity in the urogenital region. That increased blood flow? It helps keep tissues healthier and more responsive. And over time, this can lead to better control, less urgency, less leakage, and a stronger sense of body awareness. But let's pause here, because I know what you might be thinking. I thought Kegels were the only answer. That's what most people assume. And yes, Kegels have their place. But the problem is, many women find them confusing or hard to keep up with. Masturbation, on the other hand, is natural. It's intuitive. It comes with immediate feedback, because you can feel what's working and what's not. And let's be honest, if you're going to take care of your health, wouldn't it be nice if the process actually felt good? Now, if you're thinking, but I haven't done that in years, that's okay. Start gently. A quiet room. No pressure. A soft touch. Use a little water-based lubricant, something unscented and simple. Give yourself permission to be slow, to explore, to reconnect. And remember, this is not about performance. It's about restoration. It's about honoring your body and what it still needs. And as Martha discovered, it's never too late to take control back, one small moment at a time. But here's the beautiful part. This kind of care doesn't just stop at your bladder. It reaches into every part of your well-being. Because what happens after that moment of self-care? Your body relaxes. Your mind quiets down. And sleep, real, deep, healing sleep, begins to return. So now let's talk about something so many women struggle with, especially after loss or long days filled with worry. Sleep. And how this simple act of self-connection can help restore the peaceful rest your body's been craving. Secret number 2, it improves sleep in seniors. Now, let me tell you about Linda. She's 68, widowed, and living alone for the first time in over 40 years. Every night, she'd get into bed, turn off the lamp, close her eyes, and wait. But sleep wouldn't come. She'd stare at the ceiling, listening to the clock tick, mind racing with thoughts she couldn't turn off. The silence of the room was louder than ever. And every night she'd ask herself, why can't I sleep? She tried everything, chamomile tea, reading before bed, cutting back on caffeine. Even her doctor suggested a new pillow and fewer naps during the day. Nothing worked. Until, one evening, without planning to, she took a few extra moments after her bath. Just slow, mindful touch, no expectations, no goal. And afterward? Her body softened. Her mind went quiet. And for the first time in weeks, she fell asleep within minutes. Now, what Linda didn't realize at the time was this: she had just triggered a cascade of natural chemicals inside her body. Oxytocin, sometimes called the love hormone, was released during that gentle self-connection. Endorphins, those feel-good, stress-reducing chemicals, kicked in. Together, they soothed her nervous system, lowered her cortisol levels, and helped her brain shift from tension to tranquility. This isn't just hearsay, it's backed by science. Masturbation is one of the most effective natural ways to ease into deep sleep. It helps you unwind from the inside out. And unlike medications or supplements, it comes with no side effects, only self-kindness. But here's the catch, and it's a big one. Many older adults, especially women, don't feel they deserve that kind of comfort anymore. They say things like, I'm too old for that, or, it just feels wrong now. But let me say something clearly and with love, touch is not wrong. Your body didn't stop needing peace just because time passed. This isn't about lust or fantasy, it's about calm. It's about honoring your own nervous system. It's about creating a gentle nightly ritual that says, you're safe. You're still here. You still matter. So, if you've been struggling to sleep, lying awake, feeling the weight of loneliness or stress, try this: take a warm bath or a shower. Let the water wash the day away. Use soft lighting, maybe play some calming music. And when you settle into bed, take just a few quiet minutes for yourself. Breathe. Touch. Listen to what your body says. No judgment. No goal. Just presence. You may be surprised how something so simple can calm the mind, ease anxiety, and invite the kind of sleep that feels like a warm hug from the inside out. But sleep, as important as it is, isn't the only area this kind of connection can heal. Because next, we're going to talk about something deeply personal, something that far too many women silently endure: vaginal dryness and discomfort. And how, even after menopause, you still have the power to restore comfort, moisture, and ease, all by gently reconnecting with your own body. Secret number 3, it fights vaginal dryness and discomfort. Now, let's talk about something many women don't want to bring up, even in the doctor's office. Vaginal dryness. That quiet, uncomfortable truth that makes you shift in your chair or avoid certain clothes, or even avoid touch altogether. Meet Barbara. She's 74, lives in Pennsylvania, and spent most of her life being what she calls low maintenance. Strong. Private. Practical. But for years, she struggled with irritation, burning, and a dry, pulling feeling she never talked about. To her, it felt like just another trade-off of aging. Maybe this is just how it is now, she thought. She tried a few creams, sure, but they felt clinical, cold, and honestly, awkward. She didn't know where to begin, or even if there was hope. Then one day, during a routine visit, her gynecologist surprised her with a suggestion she hadn't expected. He said, "Barbara, sexual stimulation, even on your own, can help bring natural moisture back." She was stunned. Not because she didn't believe it, but because no one had ever told her that before. You see, after menopause, estrogen drops. And when that happens, the tissues around the vaginal walls can become thinner, drier, and more sensitive. But here's the part no one talks about. The body still responds to touch. When you engage in gentle stimulation, even if it's just a light, intentional massage, you increase blood flow to the vaginal walls. That circulation brings oxygen, nutrients, and yes, natural lubrication. This isn't a fantasy. It's not dirty. It's biology. It's healing. And while many women are handed estrogen creams and sent on their way, they're rarely told that their own hands, or even gentle, simple tools, can be just as effective when approached with patience and care. But the biggest misconception? That you have to feel sexy to start. You don't. You can begin in a place of neutrality. You can begin from curiosity, not desire. Start small. Choose an unscented, water-based lubricant, nothing fancy. Let it be warm. Safe. Touch the outer areas, not with the goal of reaching climax, but with the goal of comfort. Allow your body to respond in its own time. There's no pressure. No timeline. Because what's happening beneath the surface is more than just physical. You're encouraging elasticity, moisture, and resilience. You're inviting your body to trust again. And here's what's even more beautiful. When you start to feel more at ease physically, something deeper begins to shift too. That uncertainty, that quiet insecurity, starts to fade. You begin to hold yourself differently. Not because you're trying to impress anyone, but because you finally feel like you belong in your body again. And that, my friend, is the gateway to something just as powerful as physical healing: emotional confidence. Because the next secret we'll explore isn't just about the body. It's about how touch, presence, and pleasure rebuild your sense of self-worth. So let's keep going. Because what comes next might just be the most empowering realization of all. Secret number 4. It boosts self-esteem and body awareness. Let's talk about a different kind of healing now, one that doesn't start in your bladder, or your sleep, or even your hormones. It starts in the mirror. Joanne is 70. She lives in a quiet apartment in Michigan, not far from her daughter and grandkids. She's kind, funny, and still wears red lipstick when she goes to church on Sundays. But one day, during a women's support group at her local senior center, she said something that made the room fall silent. I haven't really looked at my body in years. Not really. I feel invisible, like I disappeared from myself. Now maybe, just maybe, you know what that feels like. That quiet, aching sense that your body is no longer yours. Not because you don't live in it, but because you've stopped connecting with it. Stopped admiring it. Stopped thanking it. Joanne told the group she didn't feel beautiful anymore. Didn't feel feminine. But one evening, while listening to a guided relaxation audio, she heard the words, "Touch yourself like someone you love." So, she tried it. Not with shame. Not with rush. Just gentle presence. Hands over her belly. Over her hips. Her thighs. Her chest. At first it felt foreign, awkward even. But slowly, something began to change. She started to feel herself again. Not like a woman from the past. But like the woman she still was. You see, when you touch yourself with love, your brain listens. When you reclaim your pleasure, not for anyone else, but for you, you send a message to every part of you that says, I am still here. I still deserve joy. And there's science to back it up. Masturbation increases the release of serotonin, that feel-good, mood-stabilizing hormone that can help reduce depression and increase confidence. It reconnects your brain to your body's signals, which is something that many women lose touch with over the years, especially after grief, trauma, or illness. But here's the misconception that holds so many women back, that intimacy, especially at this stage in life, is inappropriate. That it's not for someone your age. Let me say this gently and clearly, that idea is a lie. There is no age limit on love. No expiration date on emotional healing. And absolutely no reason to disconnect from the body that has carried you through so much. So how do you begin? Start with something as simple as a mirror. Stand, or sit, or lie down in front of it. Not to critique or judge. But just to see. To witness your shape, your skin, your story. Touch your arms. Your hands. Your chest. Thank your body for being here. For surviving. For still holding beauty, even when the world stopped noticing. Or try a guided audio. There are beautiful ones designed specifically for older women, where someone gently walks you through self-connection without any pressure to perform. This isn't about climax. It's about coming home to yourself. And here's what's remarkable. The more you do this, the more you remember who you are. Not just a caregiver, or a grandmother, or a wife. But a woman. A whole, alive, powerful woman who still feels. Who still deserves softness, affection, and joy, on her terms. And yes, all of this, believe it or not, even affects areas of the body we never associate with intimacy. Because the truth is, when you awaken the body's systems, more gets activated than you think. Even your digestion. Yes, you heard that right. Let's talk about how self-stimulation can actually support your bowel movements, too. Because the body is one beautiful, connected system. And you're about to learn just how much of a difference that makes. Secret number 5, it supports digestive regularity. Now I know this one might surprise you. Because when you think about masturbation, digestion is probably the last thing that comes to mind. But the body is incredibly connected, one system flowing into the next, like branches from the same root. Let me tell you about Grace. She's 76, sharp-witted, full of charm, and lives in a retirement community in Arizona. For years, she silently battled chronic constipation. You know, the kind that makes you feel heavy, sluggish, and uncomfortable in your own skin. She tried everything, fiber supplements, prunes, walking around the block after dinner. Nothing worked consistently. One day, during a urology appointment, yes, not even her primary doctor, she brought it up, almost as an afterthought. And that's when her urologist said something unexpected. He leaned in and said, "Grace, sometimes the answer isn't in what you eat, but how you move. Even how you stimulate the muscles down there." He explained how orgasmic contractions activate not just the pelvic floor, but the lower abdominal and rectal muscles too. That rhythmic contraction? It gently massages the intestines, nudging things along in a way that feels natural, because it is natural. Pelvic stimulation, especially when done slowly and mindfully, creates movement in the rectum and lower colon, encouraging peristalsis, that wave-like motion that helps you go. And for someone like Grace, who had felt stuck in more ways than one, this insight changed everything. Now, of course, most people think the solution to constipation is always more water or more fiber. And yes, those things matter. But here's what's missing from that conversation: the nervous system, the muscles, the intimacy between body parts. Your body isn't a group of separate machines. It's one living, breathing ecosystem. What supports your bladder often supports your bowel. What restores pelvic tone also improves how your digestion functions. So, what can you do? Start with awareness. In the quiet of the morning, when your body is still waking up, take a few minutes to simply check in. Maybe it's light stretching. Maybe it's touch, gentle pelvic stimulation, not rushed, not goal-driven. Just enough to say, "Hey, I'm here. I'm listening to you today." It's not about being provocative. It's about being proactive. It's about honoring how all your systems communicate. When you send comfort and movement to one part, the rest often responds in kind. And that, my friend, brings us to the heart of it all. The part no one tells you to prepare for. Because when you've lost someone, when the house is too quiet, when night falls and the memories feel heavier than the blankets, there's another kind of healing that begins with touch. Let's talk about grief. And how your body, even in solitude, still knows how to hold you through the sadness. Secret number 6. It helps process loneliness and grief. Darlene was 71 when her husband, Harold, passed. They'd been married for 47 years. And when he was gone, the house didn't just feel empty, it felt hollow. The first few months were a blur of casseroles, sympathy cards, and well-meaning check-ins. But then the world moved on. And Darlene was left with the silence. The ache. The absence of a hand to hold. She stopped reaching out. She stopped smiling as much. She even stopped touching her own body. Because it felt foreign. Like it belonged to another life. Until one afternoon, during a grief counseling session, her therapist gently said, "Touch can still be medicine, even when the other person is gone." Darlene blinked through tears. "Even just me?" she asked. The therapist nodded. "Especially just you." And so, one evening, she lit a candle. She played their favorite music, soft jazz from the 60s. And she gave herself permission, not to forget him, but to remember herself. To feel warmth again. To feel connection, not to someone else, but to the part of her that was still alive. Here's what the science says: dopamine and oxytocin, those beautiful, comforting chemicals that help us bond, aren't reserved for couples. They can be released through solo touch. Through mindful, loving self-connection. And when they are, they help process complex emotions, grief, sadness, loneliness. They tell your brain, you're not abandoned. You're still here. You're still loved. But society doesn't talk about that. Instead, it labels self-touch in older adults as inappropriate, shameful, taboo. And yet, for so many seniors, it's a lifeline. A quiet, dignified, personal way to soothe the heart when words fall short. So, if you're grieving, if you felt that ache of absence settle deep in your bones, know this: your body hasn't forgotten how to care for you. You can still touch, still breathe, still feel. Let it be a ritual, not a secret. Light a candle. Wrap yourself in softness. Close your eyes. Let each touch be a whisper that says, I am still here. I still matter. I am still worthy of comfort. And now that we've uncovered these deeply personal, quietly powerful truths, let's take a step back and talk about what this really means for your life, your health, and your sense of self in these later years. Because this conversation, this gentle, honest one, is where healing truly begins. Let's take a breath now. Because everything we've talked about, everything we've gently uncovered together, is more than facts. It's more than hormones, and muscles, and biological responses. It's you. It's your story. Your journey. And your right to feel whole in a body that the world may have long stopped celebrating. Reconnecting with your body after decades of silence isn't just about pleasure, it's about reclaiming something that was always yours. Your agency. Your identity. Your inner light that never stopped glowing, even when life dimmed it. Maybe you grew up in a time when these things weren't talked about. Where modesty meant silence, and silence meant self-denial. Where your needs, your pleasure, were never even part of the conversation. But hear me now, that silence doesn't get to write the last chapter. You are not too old. You are not inappropriate. You are not broken. You are not past your prime. You are human. And being human means needing touch, comfort, softness, and presence, from others, yes, but also from yourself. That need doesn't vanish with time. It just goes underground. Waiting. Hoping. For you to listen again. So, I ask you, gently but firmly, don't let shame win. Don't let outdated beliefs or quiet fears hold you back from something your body still craves, and still deserves. Speak to a doctor you trust. Not just about pills or conditions, but about your truth. Ask the questions that have waited too long. Let your care include all of you, not just what's seen, but what's felt. And when you're alone, really alone, explore without guilt. Let your hands be soft. Let your heart be open. Let your breath be steady. There is no one to impress. No performance. No shame. Just a moment of grace between you and you. Because healing isn't always loud. Sometimes, it's a quiet sigh in the dark. A gentle rediscovery of parts of you that you forgot were still alive. And that's the hope I want you to hold on to. It's never too late. It's never too late to feel safe again in your own skin. To feel seen, not by others, but by yourself. To be touched, not by romance or expectation, but by your own acceptance. You are not past the point of mattering. You are not done. You are not fading. Every gentle moment of rediscovery is a gift. A sacred act of returning to your full, vibrant, beautiful self. And that, my friend, is a kind of freedom no one can take from you. So, hold that truth close. You are still here. You are still worthy. You are still whole. Let's take a quiet moment together, and just let it all settle. We've covered a lot. Things that aren't always easy to talk about. Things that, for many women, have lived in silence for far too long. So, let's gently bring it all together. To summarize, we explored 6 powerful and surprising ways that masturbation can truly support your health and your peace of mind in this sacred stage of life. 1. We talked about how it helps strengthen your bladder, giving you more control and confidence. 2. We saw how it can improve sleep, helping your body find its rhythm again. 3. We looked at how it fights vaginal dryness and discomfort, offering a path to comfort without shame. 4. We dove into the emotional, how it rebuilds self-esteem and reconnects you to a body that still belongs to you. 5. We uncovered how it even supports digestive regularity, reminding us just how interconnected everything truly is. And finally, we held space for something tender, how it helps process loneliness and grief, offering quiet healing where words sometimes fall short. Now I'd love to hear from you. Which one of these surprised you the most? Was there a moment in this video that made you pause and think, why have I never been told this before? Or have you ever felt hesitant, even a little ashamed, to ask questions like this at your age? You are not alone. Please, share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's make this a space where women lift each other up, where you can speak without fear of judgment. And if this video made you feel a little more understood, if it opened your eyes, or maybe just helped you breathe a little deeper with relief, please subscribe to Elderly Wisdom Guide. This is a place where your needs are seen, where your body, your questions, and your well-being are treated with the respect and dignity you've always deserved. There is no expiration date on learning. There is no shame in growing. There is only the quiet power of women supporting women, in truth, in care, and in wisdom. Thank you for spending this time with me. It means more than you know. So, wherever you are, I hope you'll carry this gentle reminder with you. You are allowed to feel good. You are allowed to be curious. You are allowed to heal, again and again. Stay kind to yourself. Stay curious. And I'll see you in the next video, right here, on Elderly Wisdom Guide. Until then, be well.